This is Athena Jezik. We're here working a little bit more on Karina and her issues. We did a work on her a little bit earlier with the back and the shoulders. And so to balance out the other side of all this, we're going to work a little bit on the front side of the shoulder, up into the upper chest, pectoralis area, and also neck, because it's also tied together. And I'll probably work a little bit on the face as well. Probably start with that. So I'm just, of course, starting with checking out the lymph and what the fluids are doing. Over the years, I've discovered that when there's fluid that's in the muscle tissue, it's a little more difficult to get the work done well. So I've learned to just drain, do a little draining, just get it moving. It seems to be helpful. So I'm just continue with that. And I guess we can go into a little bit of lymphatic work here, under the chin. And the face, the chin, so. And we'll just check the bridge of the nose. Okay, a little bit on the head to start with. Alrighty. What you're looking for when you do this head thing, when you're rotating your fingers around, is you want to feel the skin moving. You're not just doing hair follicle moves, you're actually moving the skin. And that way, if it's tight, then you know that there's some tightness, possibly with fluid, or tightness in some of the fascial structures. And when you feel a lot of movement with the skin, then that's a much more mobile situation. Okay. And just checking the lymph again. There's so many things that I do to check that it's hard to remember to tell you what I'm doing. Okay. Now I'm going to work a little bit on the face. I'm going to put a very small amount of oil on my fingertips. And work it in this way so there's not much. You don't want to put a lot of oil on someone's face if it's just regular oil. This is a good oil. I'm going to do some massage work here. And everything works upward. Upward, and then you can get up under the cheeks. It's probably not quite enough oil. It does have a way of going only a short distance, especially when there's a very small amount. Now I'm going up underneath the cheek bone and just getting into these muscles of the face here that are oftentimes tied up into the muscles that are working the jaw, and just checking them all out. With circular motion, it's a good way to kind of assess what's going on. And then I'm just going to be doing a little bit of upward sweeping on some of these muscles that tend to be a little bit tighter, and on this side as well. And then we can pull it under the cheek after it's loosened and bringing it up. Now don't push hard on the face, especially around the sphenoid bone, the wings of the sphenoid bone, which are right here. That can be kind of irritating. It can also feel very overwhelming. It's a very sensitive bone. In cranial work, it's a very vital bone. And you always want to just be respectful of the body that you're working on. Making sure that you have permission to take yourself deeper into the muscles, not forcing your way in any sense of the word. And then along the nose. Okay. Now we're going to get down into the neck, and here I do need to add a little bit more oil. Okay, working the neck. The way that I work the neck is I like to cradle the head and do a lot of neck rotations while I'm taking the fingers and gliding upward. Working the neck face down is a little bit more challenging because you don't really get a lot of the range of motion. And rotating it to the side. Yes, and it's all upward here. Okay, now I'm going to come over to this side again, only this time I'm going to work downward from up at the base of the skull. And just now being very careful down there. I'm using a fair amount of pressure, but not so much that it's going to cause any kind of discomfort, or not so much that the muscle is going to push me back. This all ties into some of that shoulder area, which is still feeling pretty good from what we did earlier. And then along the clavicle, we need some more oil there. Let's get to the other side of the neck and work downward. There we go. And just go a little, down a little line and then move over and cover the entire area. So you're moving closer to this sternocleidomastoid muscle. And then bring that head back, and you can check range of motion again. I always lay the head a little bit on my arm when I do this to let them feel like they have a lot of support under their head and neck, because if they don't feel that way, if the person on the table feels like their head is going to be dropped or there's not a lot of support there, the tendency is to tighten the neck and to help out, and that defeats what you're trying to do. You're trying to make the muscles relax and move any kind of tension out of it, and if they're holding their head up, then it's a little bit more difficult to allow that to happen. I'm doing a cranial base release here to release a little bit more in the neck and shoulder area. And of course, that's a technique that you learn from cranial sacral work. I don't always recommend, until you learn the work well, to blend different things, because oftentimes it becomes blurred and then the person doing it isn't really clear on any particular modality. It becomes a little gray. So if you are doing other modalities, I would strongly urge you to master one at a time, and then you'll know better how to blend them. It just keeps you with better results. And you know what you're doing a lot more when you're understanding each modality individually and how it works and how it operates and how to work it. Now going back into the shoulder. This one is still a little tighter. I think this is the arm that works more. There's some crepitus now because she's laying down, so it's in a different position. It's not bad though. There it goes. It's relaxing. I'm just holding my thumb on that tight spot and getting some movement, some unwinding. Okay. Now just go into the upper part of the arm and upper chest. I'm going to apply the oil across here to the shoulders. And then we'll start here and just go around this deltoid. This area, it takes a lot of stress during the day too. It works pretty hard. It also has some attachment points from the back, very close in. And working it that way, then coming up under the clavicle. And then getting to the sternum, you can feel how the ribs are attached and going in between each little rib there. And then you can bring your hand down and grab the pectoralis muscle that's under the arm and just kind of move that around, kneading it a little bit. Sometimes that'll be a little bit ticklish, but if you go into it slowly, or people get very relaxed, then they won't probably respond to a ticklish thing. If you go in real quickly, oftentimes you'll get a little response. Jump back, a giggle or something like that. You want to keep your person very relaxed when you're working, so you want to enter into these sensitive areas slowly and carefully so as not to pull them out of their relaxed state, having to defend something that's coming in quickly to their body. It sets other things in motion when you do that, so be mindful. Okay, so you can come up and you just follow the attachment points, checking all that out. This feels a little bit better. It still needs some work, but it does feel better. I'm getting on the top of it, and then thumbs back under and coming back under. So a lot of this is learning how to move your hands in particular directions and follow things, and communicating with the body, knowing what you're on, what you're not on, and what it's telling you. So there we have it. Thank you very much. If this was helpful to you and your practice, or helpful for you working somebody that needs a little bit of attention in this way, let us know. Thumbs up if you liked it, and leave us a comment. Thank you so much.